Well, it's about time we had an F-unit day on the early Burlington Northern, don't you think? Hi, this is Burr Stewart, and join me for a rollicking video that is going to show a lot of BN green F-units. We've been fooling around on this channel a little too much lately, and I wanted to get back to basics. The whole reason I developed this model railroad was to show off the fun that the Burlington Northern had merging the railroads of different colors and painting their engines BN green. Now, if you notice in this picture, what's different about these two F units? You see the changes in the stripes? We could get into lots of debates about how did that come about, what's the correct version, and we do get into those debates, but for now we're just going to spend the rest of this video enjoying mostly the Burlington Northern. We'll have an occasional rat show up in there, but basically what you see is what you get. So for starters, we had 4 F units all hitched up together, all of which had nice sounding tsunami decoders and scale sound system speakers in them. And so the sound was very impressive, as you'll hear as they go by in a second. Now this is your typical early 70s, I like to call it 1973 era train. You've got some legacy cars, the blue one from the Great Northern, for example. You got some reasonably modern cars for that time, like the Orange Reefer, and we'll be enjoying this consist throughout the video, so there's no hurry. It's a little hard to see in the video, but there's a nice bright headlight on this F unit, along with that rotating beacon, which was a requirement in the early 70s that was eliminated later in the 1980s. I personally love the rotating beacons. I think they give every engine a lot of character, but we don't have them on all our engines yet, but we'll get there. This is coming by the Ballard Station and across bridge number 4 on the old Great Northern, which of course became the Burlington Northern main line from Seattle to Chicago. And we model it pretty crudely with a Walther's double track truss bridge that my friend Bob Wickham extended the top of so it was wide enough to handle this S-curve. Nice job, Bob, and thank you. I should mention that it was also weathered by Robin Peel. Now, unfortunately, I took this first shot in a lower resolution than normal, so if it seems a little out of focus, stay tuned because we'll have some 4K video coming later in this presentation, but for right now, we're stuck with a lower resolution. I'll try not to make that mistake again. As you saw in the earlier video, this is the maintenance of way parking area next to the car repair shop in the Interbay yard, and I really love watching engines go by engines, and that's what we're seeing here. You can see here the mix of legacy locomotives from the Chinese red CB&Q to the orange GN and the black Northern Pacific, as well as various engine types. U-boats, Alco C-424s, you name it. I think it's a lot of fun to model. And of course in the foreground you see those 5 cabooses that we just discussed in a recent video that I published all about the caboose of the BN. That blue LED light on the track is a blue light to signal that there are people at work on the track and you're not allowed to go in there without getting the approval of the manager in charge of that facility. But you probably knew about blue light laws, right? Blue flag, that's what I meant to say. The idea was to keep trains from running into people who were loading or unloading cars in a factory. Well, a couple minutes later, our same train with the 4 F units is going through downtown Seattle with all the ruckus of the grade crossings. Down below is the Milwaukee engine terminal that we're building, and I'll show you more on that later in the video. And south of downtown, of course, is Mount Rainier, so we have to have a picture of that. Although in real life, it's not quite that grand, but it's there. As you know, the North Portal is a tunnel that the Great Northern built underneath downtown Seattle to try to reduce congestion along the waterfront. Yeah, that's a nice mixed 1973 consist. I wanted to let you feast your eyes on that Caboose. That was originally, I believe, Great Northern X1 Caboose, but it got converted into Burlington Northern after the merger. We'll have more close-ups on that Caboose later in the video. Very nice. And we couldn't resist coming around one more time at a little bit of a slower speed. I wanted you to really take a look at this detailing that Brian Elchlepp did on these engines. The first two belong to me, and the second two belong to him. You can see the paint job is different. They didn't all come from the same manufacturer, so the front two are a little bit lighter in color. I think the second two look more realistic. That Alaska boxcar needs to be weathered, but you would have seen that in Seattle because there was a couple of car barge operations that moved railroad cars back and forth between the lower 48 and Alaska. And of course, we saw that Penn Central depressed center flat car in the last video. It was nicely weathered by Lisa Murray and has that load that was built by the company that imported the flat car, Class 1 Model Works. It's a new company if you haven't heard about it, relatively new. Oh, that looks nice. That curved crossover is where the main line goes from 2 tracks down to 1 in the Interbay yard, which is below and to our right. It's useful to have the main line only 1 track through a yard. It's less confusing about who has to ask permission from the yard master and who doesn't. This again is the north end of the Interbay yard in Seattle. Just wanted to give you a slightly different view of things. I think that log car is a stock Walther's car, and I'm not sure about the Northern Pacific covered hopper. It's probably a red Caboose drop bottom gondola there with the ties in it. That really turned out well. Looks quite realistic. Well, just for a break, Robin brought over the Rat, which was a very prominent engine that was part of the conversion from steam to diesel in Great Britain, probably in the late 40s, early 50s. And they called them rats because they multiplied like rats. There were so many of them in the early days. I just wanted you to hear how nice that sound is. And a little later in the video, we'll hook it up to some cars and it'll look a little bit more like a train. And you can hear the sound again a little bit more close up without me talking all the time. Now, F units are a lovely thing, but so are Alco C-425s and 426s. So this is one of those, and Brian weathered that up really nicely. This engine belongs to him, but he brought it over just to tease me. There he is, looks pretty intent on troublemaking. So he hooked those up to a couple of the F units that we had. Bang! And he ran that around the layout. I had to push that couplers together to make sure they mated properly. These cars are coming out of the Bayside yard onto the main line. I'll show you the main line a little bit later that goes through Bayside with this very train on it. And there's a little tiny grade crossing there that he just blew for, which was nice. That control panel is left over from the old DC direct current days when I used to run this layout with infrared handheld controllers. Of course, now it's all DCC, and I just use these toggle switches for load shedding between a couple of different boosters. Now, Brian always puts bright headlights in his engine, so I had to come around to the other side so you could see that. Very nice. Just like a real engine. I don't really ever get tired of looking at F units, do you? I don't know why. They're just, I don't know what, nostalgic, massive. I don't know, there's something about them. That orange hooker car is what I call the Joe Green Memorial car, because when I went to operate on Joe Green's layout on the Olympic Peninsula, it was my favorite car on his layout. There's just something about the square ends of it. We'll see that again in some other shots. Isn't that a nice sound? Now coming up here, we're going through Mukilteo, where there's a Department of Defense oil facility that powered the SR-71s with fuel, but we're also getting a great sound experience here in stereo. Here's that slanted cupola caboose again. I think I had even better shot of that coming up. Now coming along Ballard again. You get to admire these F units close up. Very good. Very, very good. I'm going to zoom out so you can see the whole layout in this corner here. Got downtown Seattle on the lower level. And we're going to build a model of the steel mill, which is now a Nucor facility. Up above, of course, is the Bellingham staging yard. And down here is the north entrance to the Interbay yard in Seattle. I just never get tired of it. Just in the last video we did, number 119, we had a parallel operation going on right here between a switcher and a mainline train. There's that British Columbia Railway boxcar where the Columbia is spelled wrong. You see that? I wonder who made that mistake. That first wood chip car is a Walthers product. The second one was made by E&C shops, recently taken over by Intermountain. Same train coming through downtown Seattle. A lot of road crossings and crossing bells, you name it. Space Needle. The old spaghetti factory is the first place I ever had dinner in downtown Seattle, way back in 1977. What a fond memory. Yeah, and that's a very nice train. I hope you don't mind seeing it a couple of times in a row. I've talked about most of the cars on it. And like I said, coming up shortly, we'll have a much better view of that caboose. You might have noticed that down in the Milwaukee engine terminal, Dave was making some progress. There's a new shed there, or a small building, and he's putting in some water, sand, and oil columns there. Those toothpicks sticking up are going to have some really nice models that he's been building. And we're going to put some sort of a boiler house and machine shop in the back by the mirrors. I'm sure we'll show you more of that as we make further progress. Now our train is coming through the Argo yard, which is south of Seattle's downtown, and it's where the BN interchanged with the Union Pacific and the Milwaukee. Oh, that's a great shot coming right at us across that crossover. Oh, I'll have to do that again. That was nice. You can see on the right there's some Milwaukee freight cars that are being interchanged with the BN and Argo. We're not stopping for them right now. We're just blowing on through. But we are enjoying that S-curve that's created by the crossover. This train is moving from Main 2 in the back to Main 1 in the front so that it can go around the loop and come back out in Bayside Yard. We call that the illegal cutoff because it's really not true to the linear nature of the railroad. It's kind of a special loop around the basement. But never mind, here's our close-up of that caboose. Fresh paint job. That's what you can do when you're modeling 1973. You have all kinds of rolling stock that either wasn't repainted yet, like the truck there, or was repainted into BN green, like these F units in that caboose we just saw. So here we've come across the illegal cutoff and we're heading into the tunnel which will lead to Bayside Yard in Everett. But I don't think we're going to make another loop around with this train. We've got some other things to do today. But first I want to show you this view of those F units from above. Isn't that nice? This is entering the main line in Everett's Bayside Yard, which is right in the center of the yard, and the right-hand side is called the new yard because it was built new after the old yard, which is in the back, which is called the Scott's Yard because it mainly served the Scott Paper Company on the shore of the port of Everett there in Bayside. Yeah, that's a nice stretched out train going through the yard. We don't seem to have anything on the siding that's waiting for it, which is nice. Can just come right on through. But I think it's going to stop because he's going to put the cars away where he got them here in Bayside. You can see the car card boxes there for the different shippers that we serve here. And of course, in the back are the other two F units that made up the 4 that we started with today. Oh man, hurt me. 4 F units in one video. Well, here's the Rat coming from England and hauling some parcel cars. I guess they call them vans, parcel vans. And it's got some sort of a passenger car at the end. I don't know what they called them. In the last video, I showed you the Transpennine Express, but I pronounced it wrong, so I apologize for that. Nice. Meanwhile, as that train was going through Argo, this is the moment when Brian was pulling his train into Everett, which we saw a second ago. And here comes the Rat right on its tail. Those big blue blobs on the left are a soldering iron that I have, and I was about to make a repair to that switch that the passenger car is on right now. Fortunately, the trains were going across it, but one of the switch points had become desoldered, so I had to go in there and fix that. I didn't take any video of that, but it worked out fine. Isn't that a great sound? These are 00 scale models, which means they're 1 to 72 instead of 1 to 87. But the British railroads are a little smaller. The prototype railroads are smaller in size, so it works out pretty close to HO proportionally. Well, I lied. Brian brought his train around one more time, and I got this gorgeous shot of it. forget about the steam engine. We'll look at that in a different video. Yeah, there's a view for you. Curving around on Main 2. Yeah. I'm telling you, we do have fun on this railroad, don't we? I hope you enjoyed this video. All we wanted to do is geek out on F units, and we did a pretty good job. We had some distraction, but it's a lot better than some of my other recent videos. And for the moment, I hope you'll enjoy all the other videos on my channel, and you'll let me know if you have any thoughts about F units or anything else in the comments below. And until the next one, this is Burr Stewart wishing you much fun with trains and F units and cabooses. Or caboose, as we called it in the last video.
Oh,
I'm a ways ahead of you.
Gavin takes off when I get back around to Burlington Northern. And maybe some balance.